we've envisioned that. But another thing is like we're expanding the size of our cohort program this year as well, which is very exciting. We started with a small cohort, thinking let's manage this, let's see what we can do, build the relationships, and now we're sort of expanding that size as well. We're doing a lot of outreach to admissions officers in different universities. We're entering into Canada this year to meet with admissions officers there as well for opportunities for our students. And another exciting thing that has happened is we checked in for our end of year newsletter. We checked in with our alumni to see what they were up to, and they've all sort of done incredible things.
All right, so
Yeah, like
let me
winning
let me
competitions. Oh,
let
sorry.
me cut let me cut you a bit. So,
I think I might be frozen. Am I frozen?
let's start over again.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I
Yes,
can
we
hear
can.
you.
You're visually frozen, but we can get your
Okay.
audio.
All right. We are we're recording this, so I want us to start because for viewers who will not know what we're talking about, so I want us to start with introducing Build Nigeria. What
Absolutely.
was
I
the
can.
plan? How did it come up? What's your concept? What did you do last year? What have you been able to do? Then we now go into what your plan for this year is. So I'll
I
throw
think
it to
Tolu,
you. How did this
you
start
can do the
first?
intro and I'll do this. Yeah.
Okay, sounds perfect. Thank you so much for the question, and thank you everybody
Yeah.
who's here.
Tolu, please tell us about how this started.
Absolutely.
Then we'll come back to yeah.
Wonderful. I am happy to tell the story. It's my favorite story to tell. So thank you everyone who's made it here. Happy to share with you Build Nigeria. My name is Tolu Lokwe. I am the co-founder and executive director at Build Nigeria. And just to give you a little backstory, so I think the origin story for Build Nigeria can go as far back as I'm willing to take it. But I'll start with the fact that, as a young Nigerian who went to school, my secondary school in Nigeria, I sort of had all these big ambitions and aspirations for my country, for the way I did a lot of volunteering service projects, and I was very aware of the state of education in Nigeria, the fact that there are a lot of schools that are under-equipped, that teachers are working in poor working conditions, and there are all these things that are sort of standing in the way of students being able to attain high quality education at every level so that they can sort of use that education to continue down the path of achieving the extent of their personal and career aspirations as well as their academic aspirations. And so fast forward to me, applying for colleges from Nigeria. Definitely a difficult process, but I mean, that's another story. Thankfully, I was able to gain admission and I was able to go to Harvard University. And I got to Harvard August of 2018. And it took me 2 days to realize that I was the only Nigerian international student in the class of 2022. And there were no Nigerian international students in the two classes above me. Immediately, I felt very uneasy because I'd worked with so many brilliant young Nigerians through my volunteering and service projects. I knew that there were so many brilliant young Nigerians that deserved the opportunity that was suddenly available to me by virtue of where I was going to college. All these different transformative opportunities, resources, network that suddenly I had access to. And I knew that there were so many Nigerian students who could really benefit from this in a way that could be transformative to their lives, their families, their communities, and the country. And so, at the same time I was having this realization, my co-founder Ife, who was a student at Yale, realized that she was one of only 3 Nigerian international students on Yale's entire undergraduate campus, and she was the only one without dual citizenship. So what we did was we tried to understand, why did there seem to be an underrepresentation of Nigerian students coming from Nigeria going to world-class colleges globally. And so we sort of I don't know if I'm frozen. Am I okay?
No,
Okay.
you're good, Tolu. I think she's just catching up visually.
Okay, so I think we started doing research, right? We did 47 demand validation interviews with people working in education in Nigeria, people working in youth development, after school programs, admissions officers in different colleges, as well as college access programs across the continent. And what we found are that there are these college access programs across Africa. And what they do is they go into low income communities and they find brilliant low income youth and they support them through the process of creating very compelling college applications and preparing for the college environment. And immediately we thought, does Nigeria have this? Is anyone working with this demographic of brilliant low income Nigerian youth? Maybe they're the first in their family to ever go to university. Is anyone trying to find them and tell them, we believe in you. We believe that you can go to Harvard. We believe that you can go to some of the world's best colleges. And we're going to fund you to be able to do that. We're going to fund you and we're going to support you with mentorship, all the resources you need to apply to these colleges and get scholarships that will be able to allow you to go. And we couldn't find anyone doing that. We found a lot of high priced college advising agencies that students cannot afford. And so this was definitely a gap that exists. And we decided that someone had to do something about it. Someone had to look out for this demographic of young people. And that's how Build Nigeria was formed, with the mission of ensuring that every Nigerian child has access to high quality higher education that can be transformative to their life's prospects. And since Build Nigeria was formed, we've been able to work with brilliant young Nigerians across the country. I mean, we have reach in over 185 secondary schools in Nigeria across 20 states, and we're able to work with these students to get into some of the world's best colleges. Our alumni are currently studying at an Ivy League in the US, Dartmouth College, on a full ride, meaning he's paying nothing to go to university. Another one of our students is at African Leadership University in Rwanda on a MasterCard Foundation scholarship, which is also a full scholarship. So that's the vision of Build Nigeria. We believe in the aspirations of young Nigerians, especially those disproportionately affected by the substandard educational system, and we believe in opening them to opportunities globally that can be transformative to them. And so I'm happy to answer more. And obviously, there's a lot more to talk about Build's future, but that's just a little bit about the motivation behind our current programming and what we believe for the future of young Nigerians.
Thank you, Tulu. Thank you so much. Well spoken. And I always told you that I had to be on high speed to catch up with you. Thank you so much. Thank you for all that you do, Tolu. Claire, let me quickly go to you. Let's welcome Folakemi here. Folakemi is an attorney. Is Folakemi? I'll give you few minutes to introduce yourself while we're trying to get Soji into.
Okay. Hi, everybody. Tolulokpe, Claire, and Shola. I'm happy to be here. I'm very sorry that I came in late. Two things happened. One, I got a Zoom link. I copied the wrong link because I wanted to send it to my email so I can log on the laptop, not on the phone. So that was the first thing. Second thing was when I logged on, I found out that it wasn't recording. So I wanted to sort out that logistic because I have access to. So I don't know, but it started recording. Are you recording, Shala?
Yes,
But
we are.
I don't know. Somehow I just okay. So I'm sorry about that. How are you all doing?
Doing very
Fantastic.
well, thank you.
It's
Lovely
always
to meet you.
like Shala said. My name is Solakemi Praise. I'm an attorney from Nigeria. I have a master's degree from here, from American University in International Law and Diplomacy. Um, I have acquired a few certifications as well along the line. Always trying to get better to catch up with you guys, as she already said. So we don't lose our value in in the current economy and society. So one has to continue to get better. And when we see young girls like you doing what you're doing, we are proud of you. It gives us the hope that we have a future and our legacies are not going to go down the drain. So thank you very much for being here. We do appreciate you. So let's get
Yeah.
the discussion started. Okay.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
Folakemi. Is Soji is on? Can we see him? Soji, is your camera on? You mute. Hi, Soji, is your camera on? Add him to stage.
Yeah, I think it's on now.
Okay, good. All right. So you've been here before with we both been here before with the Build Nigerian team. This is the second time we're bringing them on, and today we're recording and we're also going to have it on YouTube on social media, because we need to get them out there, and then also for people who are looking for this kind of opportunities, youth in Nigeria who are looking for this kind of opportunities can know
Yes,
who to talk to and how to contact them. So let's just give you 1 minute to
yes, I
introduce yourself and
do
welcome you in.
recall that we
Okay, I think the network in Nigeria it's a bit. Okay, I'm sorry, we're having some issues in your network in Nigeria. It's not that.
the
Okay.
privilege
Okay, all right. While we're waiting for Soji, just mute Soji for a while
of
until the network get better. Mute Soji for a while. Okay, Claire, let
Maybe
me
on
go
the
back to you
phone.
quickly. Don't remove it. Mute him. Add him back to stage. Add him to stage. Okay. All right, Claire, let's go back to you quickly. Um, how did you and Tolu, how did you come together?
Great.
And what we want to also know what I mean. Were you having this kind of what I mean? Were you thinking along this kind of? I mean, because you come from an educated family, you come from a wealthy family. Everybody knows your dad, and for you to now give up yourself to help those kids that didn't have that kind of advantage. Let's hear from you. What propels you into this?
Of course. So for those who are on the call, those who are watching the recording, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time of day it is for you. My name is Claire Tommy, and I'm the Chief Operating Officer and Chief Strategy Officer for Build
Mhm.
Nigeria. And I think our story, like for Tolu and I, actually goes very far back. We actually went to middle school together, secondary school in Lagos. And it was one of those things where actually we would have very similar discussions if we're being real. Back in the day, we'd always say that Nigerians like to complain about problems, but we don't prefer solutions. And so Tolu and I kept in touch for many years. And so when she had this idea and she'd kind of gotten in touch with her co-founder, she started reaching out to build a founding team, and I jumped immediately. She reached out to me and talked about it. I was like, this is exactly what we used to talk about. This is the kind of impact we've always been looking to have. And so it was an opportunity that I had to contribute to. And I've been working full time at Build Nigeria for about 7 months now since graduation. Um, with no other cause than implicit need in our society for children to not only understand the possibilities and the capabilities, but the resources that are available. I grew up, like you said, with a lot of access to resources. And when you live in Lagos, you can see the lack of access everywhere you go. If you open your eyes, you can see the roadblocks. And so it made perfect sense that I should be able to break down this barrier whilst given the opportunity.
Thank you, Tolu. So you and I mean, thank you, Claire. You and Tolu have always been together. You said from high school.
Yeah, middle school, high school.
Okay. So what do you do in Build Nigeria? What's your role?
Yeah. So I'm Chief Operating and Chief Strategy Officer. So, particularly in this last year, we've entered a phase where we understand exactly what our model is now. We know how to run our cohort program. And now we're looking to scale. We're looking to have more impact, take on more students, and grow bigger. And so, in that last year, I have been at the forefront of restructuring the organization, setting us up for having an impact at scale with a larger team. So, a lot of that strategy work, a lot of that partnership work. That's what I really have been working on for quite a few months now. And we've gotten to a point where we've brought on our first full-time staff, hired them, and now we're looking to make the team bigger with more volunteers so we can continue to do this good work.
Okay, that's wonderful. I'm gonna go quickly go back to Soji. Soji in Nigeria. Soji is in Nigeria, and Soji is vast in experience locally and internationally. And when you're talking about education in Nigeria, Soji have almost all the information at the finger of his tips. I mean, the tips of his finger rather. Soji, they are looking at expanding their network and being able to reach more people that really needs them. You are in Nigeria, you are in Abuja. How can we support this duo? How can we support them? Uh, is it on social media? Is it on infrastructure? What is it that we can work with them to actually help them to achieve what I mean their goals, and also help the people that need this opportunity to reach them?
Okay, thank you very much. I hope you can hear me. The network has been a little bit challenging, as you all know, the situation here. I've tried to use like two service providers, change position in the house and all that just to see if I can get, some network. So I hope you are hearing me loud and clear.
Yes,
Yes.
we are.
Okay, good, 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 good. We're getting there as a nation, and I believe that we're on the right path, and that with people like you, passionate about, getting people exposed into, different kind of the world in the education space. That's some of the kind of growth that Nigeria require in order for us to get to where we hope to be, among the Committee of Nations in the decades to come. And since young people like you are at the driving seat, then we have very good hope that whatever effort or whatever, space we have, tried to get to, you guys have the capacity and the competence to go even much more beyond that stage. Having said these, I want to say big congratulations to you. You now have your full time staff on board and you are thinking of scaling. And scaling, from my own experience, is one of the most difficult parts of growth, in business. I mean, when you are at the pilot stage, things seems to go the way you want it because you have the capacity to drive it at your own pace. You can work 24 hours in a 24-hour day and you are not slowed down by those, stress or emotions because of the passion that you have for delivery. But it's a completely different ball game when you scale and then you have staff that you need to worry about. You need to see that they have the same passion that you have. You need to see that the system is working the way you expect it to work. When you say that it's going to be on a merit basis, then you have to make sure that
I think we have the Nigerian, one of our Nigerian problem. I hope Nigerian youths will come up one day to also help us with this technology problem. Because it seems that we have to rely on the youth. The adults have failed us. They failed Nigeria. Okay. Osaje, we have an issue with your network now.
I
Okay.
can definitely relate. I can
All right.
sympathize for sure.
Let's go back to Falake. Can you mute Soji, please? Falake. All right. What's your advice for this is a big project. I imagine I don't know how many youth are in Nigeria now. I don't have the statistics right at my hand, but you see that there's the jackpot syndrome is one of the prevailing things, and I mean the high thing going on in Nigeria, and a lot of our youth wants to be out there to school abroad. So they are bringing the opportunity down to the people, the local level. So it's to bring everybody on the same scale. It means if there's a child that comes from Damaturu village who is brilliant, who is able to, I mean, pass WAEC, and I mean, have something good grade, can actually be in Harvard tomorrow without his or her parents being rich or being able to, oh, we have such a bad, being able to afford the tuition or not. So this is the opportunity they bring into the doorstep. Let's have such a bad. I think the network,
Apologies.
yes.
Apologies. Like I said, the network's just been crazy. But let's move on before we get another disruption. I think that there are two things that are important in this space as we speak. I don't think that the Build Nigeria team has problems reaching the low income, lower quantile community that they want to reach because there are, 1,000,001 of those groups. And I like the strategy. They already engage with faith-based organizations, civil society organizations that are directly working with these children. So when they call for the cohorts, they have 1,000 more than they need to screen. And so there are lots of people around that space. So they don't have a problem, publicizing what they do because they really don't need publicity. Everyone needs the service. So it's not a publicity for that space. The publicity they need is for people who
Okay, well, we're waiting for Soji. I think I can think through what Soji is saying. The publicity that they need will be how people can come together and support through funds. Okay, all right. Folake, can you take it up from there, please?
who
Okay, awesome, awesome.
desire to engage sponsor these children in some of this space that they need to go. I mean, it's not enough that, I mean, you heard that, some of the children are in Kigali, some are in South Africa, some are in the rich institutions in Nigeria, where, depending on who is offering the scholarships. And I mean, we have private institutions in Nigeria that can very well compete with those that are in different parts of the world, where, children are
Okay, let's meet Soji for now. Let's go to Folake. Don't
Okay,
remove him, just mute.
awesome, awesome, awesome. Like I said, you give us a hope.
Can you
I want
mute
to
Soji?
commend one more time what you guys are doing. It's really, it's a good initiative that you're not waiting for somebody to create the opportunity for you. You took the bulls by the horn yourself. So I commend you because that's exactly what the youth need to be doing. You know, Itomi said something the other time that we complain a lot as Nigerians and we don't prefer solutions. So and now you have provide a solution, which is to help people in the grassroots, in Nigeria or maybe Africa as a whole to get here. I don't know if getting here is the solution, but I do know one thing that right now we have the youth, the population, the majority of the population is the youth. So that's a very good thing. And that's where the growth starts from. When you have the population, no matter what you're selling, whether it's services, whether it's goods, it enables the environment to grow. That's where the growth starts from. And, you know, I like the fact that education is the future. Everybody needs to have education, but education is not just about going to school.
Mm-hmm.
You can acquire skills. I think that's where we even need to be right now in Nigeria. Everybody, if because you have gone to school, if you're telling somebody you don't go to school, they will think you don't love them.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody wants to jackpot, everybody wants to come out of Nigeria. If you say don't do that, they will think you're very selfish. You are a very selfish person. But you have been through that and you look back, you see where the lapses are. You look and say, if I had taken these steps, if I had done this, maybe I would have been a better person.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Because, like I said, we have the population that will enhance growth, that will enhance economic development. You don't have to go through the walls of school. You can learn a trade. Right now, do you know to the extent that if they want to do plastering of ceilings and all that, they go to the neighboring country in Nigeria. That's not giving us a good future. We need to
Absolutely.
encourage our youth. If you can look into that aspect of education, because that's education in itself, not
Absolutely.
just bringing them here to America is good if people, because traveling is educative on its own. But if you can enable them to acquire skills, me, that is the future that I'm hoping. That's an aspect that I want to
Absolutely.
future, delve into, where I can
Absolutely.
help the people, you know, empowering them
Absolutely.
empowering them to acquire the right skills. If
Abs-
you these days, a lot of people, they do hairdressing, they do all that, but that's not the future that we need. It's good, we're doing all that. We need an industrialized economy for us to be able to be at par, with our contemporaries in the Committee of Nations. We need
Absolutely.
that, and that's my vision. That's my aspiration. That's the Nigeria that I want to see in my time, and that's the
Absolutely.
Nigeria that I want to encourage, or the Africa in general, the youths coming behind me to see, to do, to embark on. That we look at, the other time when I was in Nigeria, because I've been here before, then I went back home, and they called me that they were going to sell Dunlop. I don't know if you know Dunlop or no background.
Mm-hmm.
Dunlop.
These days.
When I got to that place, I wept. I cried. I literally cried, because and now, do you know? I'm not against religion. Part of that place is being used as a church. It's good we know God. It's good we believe in God. But you know what? We need to have people empowered. You can
Absolutely.
pray from now till eternity. Things will not change if we do not make the effort. Prayer is good. Prayer will give you, you can leverage on prayer. It will give you direction. We all need direction. Sometimes you need to ask God, please give me direction, give me the wherewithal, give me the wisdom. But if you do not take that bold step and you sit, you fold your arms, things will not change. Things cannot change on that premises. We need to take the bulls by the horn. And that's my own vision. That's my, like I said, we need to go beyond bringing them here to go to Harvard. You can start, you can acquire a skill, and then eventually by yourself, you know that you need to brush up yourself by acquiring a formal education, another
Mhm.
education. I've seen people do that. Then you go to school, you go to university. But we just churning out hundreds of university graduates. They don't have jobs. They're they're roaming about the streets. Each time I came out of my house when
I
I was
think
in
I,
Nigeria,
I I think Falakami, I see the point, the direction in which you are driving the conversation, and I agree with you that skills are very, very important,
Acquisition.
especially
yeah,
technical skills,
yeah,
and that
exactly.
we could use skills to empower our youth in such a way that they become self-employed. They can also employ other people. I mean, you just gave example of the artisans, the masons, the screeders, the technicians that are, electricians and plumbers. That these are all skills, yes, that we need, and that we need to push our youths in that direction. It's unfortunate that our parents and the education system in the country did not take into cognizance the gaps that have been created by the lack of technical education in our curriculum. If you recall that a couple of decades back, the goal was to have the 6334 system with the intention that pupils from primary school will have the choice to go either for technical education or for the academics. And for those who choose technical education, it will be a short route to employability. And I can tell you, as someone who has been working in that space in the last 6 years, that the country is actually beginning to see those gaps. And as of last year, the National Skills Development board has been set up, and a lot of work is being done now to revitalize the technical colleges as well as the monotechnics and polytechnics in the country to push them in the area of skills development and technical education. I think what Build Nigeria is doing is beyond um, the skills acquisitions or engaging the young people in productive way only. I think they are breaking generational, limitations. They are growing into a place that is after my heart, because for one may not know it, but when you see a family that has never produced a graduate before suddenly producing a graduate that is of international standard, the joy in that entire transformative move of that family cannot be compared to just making money. So it's not the goal is, of course, when they graduate they're going to make money, but the goal intentional originally is not just the fact that they're going to make money when they become graduates, but that they're going to break the chain of poverty, in that cycle of poverty that might have been entrenched in that family for years and years and years. And when things like this happen, it gives hope to the ordinary child on the street that the country actually cares about them, that there's possibility of transformation having gone through this kind of processes, and engaged in this space before. So I want to
Actually,
ask
it's so
them,
Is it
yes.
okay if I
uh,
is it okay if I
I'll
just
give that a
yes,
respond
quick
please
really
yes.
go
quick?
ahead. Yes,
Yes.
Exactly.
I
I'll
So
was
give
going
thank
to,
you
I
so
was actually
much.
coming back to you. I know
Yes.
you
Thank you
would
so much.
you would like to add to that.
Of course. Thank you so much, Mr. Sajan. Thank you so much, Ms. Falakemi. I really appreciate all the comments. And just a couple of things I would like to mention. First and foremost, I completely agree. Skills are important, 100%. I mean, I was listening to a podcast recently that talked about how there are very few young people that know how to do things like adire, batik, like basket weaving, things like that, things that are big parts of our culture. I completely agree. I think that one thing we're very good at doing at Build Nigeria is realizing that there are multiple pathways to achieving this impact and this goal. Now, what we tell people we are is that we are this college access program. We're getting these incredible students, incredible young, low income first generation students into great universities globally in a way that doesn't have a financial hindrance on their family. Similar to what Mr. Soji said, this kind of change is transformative, not only for that student in what they're able to achieve in their personal, professional, and academic life, but because of what it does for their family, what it does for their community, not just tangibly, but also in terms of hope, right? Like in terms of believing that you can live in a society like Nigeria where it feels like at every turn there's just something standing in your way, whether it's lack of access to constant power supply, even just basic things like having the money to get Wi-Fi data to connect with opportunities globally. For you to be able to point to someone in your family or in your community that has gone through these, I mean, that has made it to this level, it makes you believe that you can do it. I can tell you that for the first few weeks when we meet our students for the first time, most of the work we're doing is building up their confidence, is making them believe
Very
that they're
so.
capable of achieving the things they actually want to achieve, the extent of the things they want to achieve. So I want to speak to that and validate that too. But I
I
also want to
think
validate.
Tolu, I'll even take it a step further because I've been on ground in Nigeria doing outreach work for us. And I think the impact, like you said, goes beyond them to their family, to their community. I was in an orphanage because one of our students actually came from an orphanage before he got into an Ivy League school. And I was there talking about the work that we do. And there was a particular, child there that was paying incessant attention and asking questions. There was a level of disbelief that he did not understand the work we did. And then I gave him that specific example of one of our students, and he sat up a bit. And now he was like, okay, so what are all the things I need to do so that I could potentially get into the program, etc. And I'm like, well, these are the grades you need to be achieving. This is the kind of work you need to be doing in your environment and in your community to possibly even get into build. And the reality is now, even if that specific child doesn't get into even build Nigeria as a program, he's had to step up. He's thinking, okay, I'm going to improve my academic work. I'm going to strive so I could potentially get into something like Build Nigeria, and that impact that it could have on him, whether or not he gets into our program and into
Absolutely.
his potential future academic opportunities, is massive.
Absolutely.
And so it's
And I
that
will
large
add
scale approach.
And I will add that every single one of our students getting into university is not just about your academics. Every single one of our students has a vision, a passion, a purpose. Our student Ikena is passionate about the cybersecurity infrastructure in Nigeria. That's what he cares about. Our student Elijah is passionate about sustainable power supply in Nigeria. That's his dream. These are students that are not just going to Ivy Leagues to say they went there, but they're actually like trying to come up with solutions that will impact such a broad demographic of the country. So many. Imagine if Elijah in 20 years is able to solve the fact that we don't have constant power supply, the kind of impact that will have. And just the final thing I want to say, just so that I can orient us towards the rest of the conversation, is that Build Nigeria is here to stay. Like we're beyond the college access program. We believe in a multifaceted approach to attacking and to like trying to solve the different symptoms of the big problem that is the core of Nigeria. We believe in not just the college access program, but what else can we do for Nigerian students in university? How can we make sure that they have funding to do research, for example? Okay, what can we do for people who want to acquire skills? What can we do for financial independence for Nigerian women? What can we like? There's so many things that Build Nigeria believes in terms of making sure that we are at the forefront of thinking about what is this broad philosophy surrounding what education can do for us in the country, and a broad view of education to not just passing exams, but also the value of education in bringing about development. I mean, this is all I think about. I'm currently in a master's program on international educational development, and it keeps me up at night thinking about the power that education can have to transform this country. And I agree with you, Mrs. Folakemi. It's not just education about going to a good university. It's what are the skills, what are the opportunities, what's the purpose, and how do we transform Nigeria from a disabling society to an enabling society where our students can pursue their passion within the country and be successful. That's the vision of Build. We're here to stay, and we're going to keep coming up with solutions, and we're going to keep having a broad view of what our philosophy of early education can be. So I just wanted to say that too, like, in case you think we're all about only the
Thank
cohort
you.
program, there's more to be done, and we're well aware of that.
Working towards it all.
Thank you, Tolu. What you're doing, it's a foundation. I mean, you're giving education is the foundation. You can, I mean, going for technical skills and things like that. If you don't have the education, I mean,
The
to
basic
actually bring your
education.
skills and turn your skills into um, financial terms. That's it. So what you're doing is it's fantastic, right? Because when these people come out, look at the immigrants in the U.S. that came in here to school. What's this guy now? The Handel Budge with the guys with Facebook. I can't pronounce his name very well. He was in Harvard. Look at what he's done. There's significant success. The guy, I mean, I did a program in Harvard, and we used Facebook as a case study, and that was how I really
Mark
know much
Zuckerberg.
about Facebook. He was in Harvard. He started the Facebook thing. I mean, just for having to connect together and see how it's
Yeah.
grown. That is, if that guy had been a Nigerian and Build Nigeria had picked the guy from Damaturu, for instance, and brought him to Harvard, look at what he's been able to do. So what you're doing, education is the foundation. No one can argue that out. But the
Yeah.
thing that my thing is that I just hope that those people that you're able to bring from Nigeria for better life can add progress and the development of that country.
Of course.
So you're doing a great job. We have just a few minutes and we've been having some technical glitch here and there. Okay. What I mean for the next few minutes, I just want us to focus on how can we support your dream. I mean, I can talk from here. I
Definitely.
want you also to look at it from Nigeria, and for Kemi to also look at it from the legal aspect of it. That's why we brought him here. So yeah, I will let you have the floor now. In Nigeria, how can we have everybody? We have you said I mean searching for these people who needs their support is not a challenge. You are close
It's
to
the
government.
But
easiest part.
anyway, can I give you some
The last time I spoke
orienting
with you, you were in
information?
your state to speak, right, to see.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Right, you
Give
were
us
in
the
Nigeria to
information.
see Makinde, and I know you've been talking.
Just wait.
All right,
Just wait. Let's listen to them. Yeah.
from your
Inshallah,
side and from Nigeria, what can we
Go
do?
ahead, Claire.
no problem.
Claire was going to
So
say
like
something.
you said, we focus on the education of our students, and I think the topic of like Japa syndrome has come up a little bit. And I think one thing we're really focused on, and we want our students to be able to do, is during our program, a core part of it is mentorship. They have mentors from all these schools so that they can guide them in the process. But we also believe that a key part that will further enable this cycle of students coming back to Nigeria, being able to make an impact there, etc., is mentorship from said Nigerians, from people like yourselves, whether they're in the US or in Nigeria, who have access to certain types of organizations, who have done certain types of roles and made an impact in their community, so that A, our students are seeing an example, but B, they are practically connected to a way back. And so I think what's one of the things that we would really benefit from NIDOA members. Yes, there's financial support to be given, there's the spreading of our message, connection to the people you know, but we would also love if NIDOA members could sign up as mentors for their respective industries, whether that's medicine, manufacturing, whatever it may be. So that whether that means you're coming in when the cohort is in session and having conversations about them, about what opportunities there are and what's going on in your industry, or that's actually saying, oh, I'm open to being connected to a student who is studying XYZ so that they can do an internship with me, so they can learn more, so they can be individually mentored. And so that's one of the things that really we would also like and appreciate NIDOA's cooperation on. If you could spread that to your members, we have lots of materials for you, a sign up form where we can like get your information, etc. But that's definitely mode one of how we would like our partnership to
And
go.
I would just like to add that the idea is when we in our application process we have students. Sometimes students write about the people that they look up to, who are their mentors, who are the people they are inspired by. Most of the time, this is a very sad thing. It's not a Nigerian person,
Yeah.
and we want it to be the
Mhm.
case that every single one of our students in whatever industry they are, from the arts to engineering, can point to one Nigerian person that they're like, this is the person doing what I aspire to do in Nigeria. This is the person that I look up to. And we believe that some of you are in the door that our students can point to. So we want you to please sign up to mentor our students. Claire has put together a flyer with links for you to be able to choose the way you want to interact with and engage with Build Nigeria, from sponsoring a student for just $880 through the cohort program to becoming a mentor, to just spreading our word. So we're going to send all those materials after this meeting. But those are some ideas that we've come up with it for a tangible way for students to already be envisioning a future in which they are making an impact in Nigeria and they have a network of supporters and mentors to guide them through that process to make it even more possible for them to make that change within the country.
For sure. I'd say one of our
Okay.
biggest things as Nigeria in general, people get good degrees, come back and say there are no jobs there. So let's get them to know the kind of people that can, whether it's they're an entrepreneur or entering your industry, they can find that way to bring that knowledge back.
Okay, I think that you guys are on the right path, and I think partnering with Nidoa is one such opportunity that you have, especially with members spread all across, because these are potential role models for the cohorts that you're growing. And then, of course, there could be also potential sponsors, within Nidoa and outside of Nidoa. The most important thing is, first and foremost, for us to put the word out there with clear guidelines on to how people can sign up for becoming mentors or for becoming sponsors. And in the context of it all, I think one of the most important things is what you said about the possibility of some members who have the wherewithal to also serve as group mentors, that could come in and speak, to motivate the cohorts when they are in session, and then, of course, encourage them to come give back to Nigeria. I am one of those people that have always advocated for the need to expose our children and our young ones to very good ways of doing things outside of Nigeria with the intention to bring them back and replicate. It's not just so that, they go out into the world and they'll just make the pounds and dollars and then they are fine and then they forget about where they're coming from. But they will make the money while, they are there out there, but they will come back also and be able to make even much more money because the opportunities here are huge. I mean, our tax regime is still very favorable to any entrepreneurs that knows what they're doing back home, and they can make much more than they would make if they were, operating in similar climes in developed world. So we just need to have a system, just like you have described, that gives us the opportunity to sign up, a good brief, a good context and concept notes that we can share with members, and the appropriate instruments for signing up. All that, once they're in place and you share with us, I'm sure that we will be able to expand, the good news that, these indigent students, these, families that we need to set into transition mode, for a whole transformation of certain communities in the countries are happening. And of course, I do hope also that you guys are using the gender lens in ensuring that we can have as many role models for both genders, both strata of the community, both wealth quintiles, high and low. That there are lowest of low. So once we are able to bring such people. I mean, I'm so amazed at the one coming from the orphanage. You can imagine the old problem of the Almajiri syndrome in the northern part of the country, and you would find on social media a couple of outliers that would just be sent around, and you could see either from the efforts that they're making or from the way they speak or from the environment in which they are striving, that once they exposed to better, educational environment or an advantage within or outside Nigeria, that the talents would boom and that they would be useful not just to their own families but to the entire country. Because for me, I mean, you guys are standing out now as very good ambassadors. You saw what was happening in East Africa and you found that it was missing in Nigeria. and you immediately replicated it even before finishing school. So it wasn't a question of, oh, I'll wait until I'm done and then I'll come back and do it. But you're doing it right there and then. And that's the difference that you are making. And I'm so very proud to be
Absolutely.
associated. Thank you.
Thank you, Sergi. We have just few minutes. I mean, we have just few minutes to round up. What I want us to look at is, um, Build Nigeria. We will be supporting you through Nigeria with mentors and things like that. That we will do. But I want us to go back to Sergi quickly in 1 minute. Sergi, like I said, you are connected in Nigeria. This is a youth. Right. How can we source? I mean, they just employed full-time staff. I don't know where they got their money from. I don't know where they got their fund from. How can this? I can build Nigeria. I can they source fund from this state government? I know you're connected with them. How can we write a letter and give it to them? Even if it's 1 million naira, they can contribute to this cause. It will go a long way. How can we get them out in the limelight so they become an institution that I
Shola,
mean
and I'm
that
sure they
has
understood
support
me perfectly well.
from
The first thing is that there are institutional sponsors, there are individual sponsor categories, and I'm 100% sure that they have the necessary tools for us to be able to attract these sponsors. As soon as those tools are ready and they are ready to engage, I am very willing and ready to link them up with the appropriate people.
Absolutely. And Michelle, you asked us at the beginning, what are our goals for the year? One thing we're doing now is moving towards corporate sponsorships. So thinking about organizations that have CSR in their education, education in their CSR, sorry about that. So we've already had talks with some of these organizations to understand what are they looking for in a CSR partner? How can we approach them? So we're completely primed. We have the right way of thinking. We're thinking about this right now, and we're happy to talk more to create packages and proposals and pitches that can be attractive to different kinds of sponsors. We're ready to do the work. Absolutely.
Thank you, thank you. You took it right out of my
so
mouth.
look, I
But
can
I
say
had that confidence that you knew precisely what you were doing, and I knew you'll have packages that will be appropriate both for both the public sector and the private sector. The public sector will also be excited because politicians like that type of, publicity as well. So I'm sure that when you put the package very well, they will be ready to sign on. Congratulations in advance, and I pray that you all achieve your greatest hopes and wishes in 2024. All the best.
Thank you so
Shala,
much.
thanks for putting all this
thank you,
together.
and
Shola,
get all the form.
Shola, I might
Thank
just
you.
add one
Yeah, get all
thing
the form for
that
the
we've not touched
Nigeria,
yet.
the mentor form and things like that.
Somebody is asking a question, Shala.
Yes.
1 minute.
Oh, I was just going to say one aspect that we've not touched on. We've talked about how current NIDOA members can
Yes.
support, and
Go
I think
ahead.
Shola, in the past we had a conversation about possibly the demographic of NIDOA members, and I think an opportunity that we haven't talked about is also for students and young people who are in the diaspora. I definitely had this experience whilst at Penn. I had Nigerian, descendants who didn't know how to connect with Nigeria. They didn't know what they could do, but they felt like they wanted to connect. At Build Nigeria, we have a plethora of opportunities for anyone, whether in America, the UK, you can be in India, to support the organization through volunteering. They can volunteer their time to be on the selector committee. That's the committee that chooses our students. They can volunteer as a mentor themselves, student mentor that guides them through the application. We are currently about to open applications early next month. And so it's open to mentors to volunteer, selectors to volunteer, committee members. You can do marketing if that's your thing. And so I think that's a great opportunity as well that NIDOA members can share with their children or young people that they know who care about change and want to get involved.
Absolutely. And this way, we're creating an opportunity for people to share in the
Send us
Build
the
Nigeria
information. Send
mission.
us, Claire and Tolu, please send us all the
Yes,
information that we need, and then Idora, send us the information.
will do.
So also send us information about your rights up for sponsorship and things like that. And on this stage, I'm gonna invite Folakemi to round up for us, and then yeah, Folakemi, you have the floor.
Okay, thank you very much once again for inviting me, and I really, really commend what you guys are doing. There is always when you have a vision, like I always say, you don't know how far your vision is going to go. The most important thing is starting, and you have started. I'm not against what you guys are doing. because Nigerians are generally known for education. We know that everybody knows that we go to school. We are, if you talk of engineers, doctors all over the world, if you ask anybody from any part of the world, what are Nigerians known for? They will tell you, Nigerians, they can study, they can go to school. I remember one year in Howard University, all the people in one department that graduated with, I think, first class also, they were all Nigerians. So you are adding to what's been on
The
ground, and
Nigerians.
that's good. You're leveraging on it, bringing those who didn't have that opportunity to have it. I pray that you will go a long way. I do remember one time that we had because Mr. Saji mentioned something about margeries and all that. I remember one time that we had the Minister of Education, Amino, and
Adamu.
they started something like education would be transhuman, taking it to them where they were. But the question is, did they take advantage of it? I think the first thing about this thing is mindset. When you want to sell something to somebody, the first thing to attack is the mindset. So the first thing is to give them the mindset, what education can do. Like I said, education would always be in several folds. It could be the formal, it could be informal. Even if you go to school to acquire a skill, is still education. You know that? At home, we're educated right from the day we were born to be
As
it's a good citizen. So I commend what you're doing. Me as a legal person, I always want to look at things from the legal perspective. So what I would love to know is um, what are the things, the legal instruments that you've put in place, concerning what you're doing, both in America and in Nigeria? Do you have a legal person who looks at these things?
Mhm.
Sometimes, you don't want to flout the law because you don't know
Absolutely.
what you're doing. There are
Absolutely.
so many imprints in things we do that we don't look at. And then
Yes.
at the end of the day, it boomerangs. And then you'll be like,
Absolutely.
oh, I didn't know that. And
Absolutely.
lawyers, because they are like, what do lawyers do anyway? You know,
Absolutely. Yeah. We
they
we
just
currently we
but we can give you,
thank,
we can
thank
guide
you so
you.
much.
We look at
absolutely.
contracts. The legal eye is different from ordinary eye.
Absolutely. We
We want
currently work
to
with rooftop chambers in Nigeria for our legal advising, but I'm definitely happy to reach out to you because right now we're thinking so we're currently incorporated as a 501c3 public charity in the US and as a nonprofit as per CSCA. We have our certificates of incorporation in Nigeria as well. But one thing we're actually really looking at, so in the US, it's kind of very easy to find information through the IRS on everything you need to do, tax wise and everything. But in Nigeria, things can be a little bit more elusive. So we're trying to think about what are all the things we need to put in place
Okay.
that helps to protect the minors that we work with, the people we bring on, things surrounding safety and all of that. So I'm definitely happy to connect with you after to talk a little bit more about the legal aspect of things.
After the meeting.
That's awesome. I'm always
Thank you
willing.
so much. Thank you, everyone.
Anything that will enable our society to grow,
Absolutely.
to give us a better future. I mean, we want to see a better future. I remember, I just want to quickly say this. One day I was going and I was very sad and I was like, oh, this is not the Nigeria that Nnamdi Azikiwe dreamt of. This is not the Nigeria that Obafemi Awolowo thought about. And that thing dropped in my spirit and said, what Nigeria are you dreaming of? What Nigeria? What
Oh,
about you? Don't talk about Nnamdi Ezekwe now. Don't talk about
okay.
Obafemi
We
Awolowo
are
now.
we,
What of you? What Nigeria do you want to see in your time and even beyond? And that's
Absolutely.
our focus. That's our vision. That's our dream. That's our
thank
aspiration.
you.
And that is our passion as well.
Absolutely.
We're passionate about. You can say that I'm all dressed in because I know there are
Thank
many
you. We're
things
running
that
out of time now for like
I
a, don't worry, we
I'm
will
not
come to that.
going
We're going to have a session. We were going to have a session that will look into different aspects of Nigeria. I spoke with you this morning. We're going to have every week we'll have our live program on, and we'll be bringing different topics on. So I guess we have a lot of time to think about to talk about more issues. Nigeria has a lot of issues, and we hope we'll be able to address few of them. So on behalf of everybody, I say thank you to Claire, to Tolu, Soji. Thank you so much. You've always been there. You've always been my mentor. You've always been someone I always look up to. My trouble never bother you. I call you at night, day, afternoon, anytime. And for like, thank you so much. You've been been a wonderful
Thank
person.
you.
You've always
Thank you
also,
for having me.
one way or the
Thank
other,
you so
Enjoy
much.
the rest of
thank
your
you for
evening.
your
Congratulations,
Have
ladies.
a great
Thank you
All the
so
day.
much.
best.
We will follow up
All
in
right.
all the materials. Thank
Thank you,
This
you.
was
Tolu and
connected.
Claire. Enjoy
Nigeria will
your
be great
evening.
in our time.
Amen. It
Yeah.
will. Yes.
Amen. Amen.
Thank
Thank
you all.
you. Bye bye from
Thank
us.
you.
Have a very good evening,
Bye.
everybody.
So stop recording and
Yeah.
let's share.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay, stop recording. Bye.
So to stop.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye. So
Yes.
share it with me quickly. Share it with me.